2017. A year chock full of so many things that they would allow for thousands of books. Political shenanigans worldwide, catastrophe as usual and not so usual, and, most relevant to this channel, a whole slew of new animal species, both extant and extinct, have been unearthed and discovered from the vast reaches of the planet's jungles, deserts, rock formations and sediments, from South America to the South Pole. We will take a look back on 2017, ignore all the bad things we've endured, for our species has surely endured things many times worse, and look at all the good science is doing for our understanding of life on planet Earth. After which we will look to the future for what might still lay out there, in the ever-shifting sands of time. Welcome! You have officially made it through 2017. We've made it through all the bogus end-time predictions from the likes of Alex Jones or other crazy nuts. We've gotten past the year Marty went back to the future without true hoverboards. And we are here to look back at this year to see what we have learned. Unfortunately, there have been so many paleontological discoveries, we have to look at the most interesting forms most relevant to scientific understanding, since a full list would take hours. January. Ithiocarenus burmanicus. A new insect specimen preserved by Amber has shown something completely unknown. It is so unique that an entirely new order has been created for it. It looked very much like an ant, but upon further investigation it appears more like an alien than any insect we know. Trilobite eggs. A new fossil specimen was discovered that preserved the eggs of the frequently found but enigmatic trilobites. Bulbasaurus phylloxeron. A new taxon of Dicynodont, the pig-like proto-mammal relatives to more advanced mammals, was found and named Bulbasaurus, more or less due to the Pokémon of the same name. SIAMOGALE MELILUTRA. A new species of prehistoric otter from China was uncovered. The unusual thing was, the otter would have weighed 100 pounds and reached the size of modern wolves, easily 2 to 3 times the size of any modern species. Ironically, this prehistoric species physically matches the accounts of the Irish cryptid Dobar Chu, completely unrelated mind you, but interesting nonetheless. February. Duzanopteryx zengi. Pterosaurs are great. Not dinosaurs mind you, but still pretty great animals. A new Chinese species from the late Jurassic shows another transitional form between long and short-tailed pterosaurs. Euryceratops muddae. Material from a new Cretaceous Centrosaurian ceratopsian was collected from the Aguja Formation of Mexico and showed a unique skull shield and small brow horns. DINOCEPHALOSAURUS. New material was uncovered from the well-known marine reptile DINOCEPHALOSAURUS that showed that they gave live birth, as young were found inside the body cavities of an adult specimen. Euchambersia. In a twist of fossilized detective work and technological advancement, scientists were able to find evidence of venom-producing organs in the skull of a non-reptilian therapsid by the name of Euchambersia. This find is amazing because the organs themselves did not fossilize, but the skull showed evidence of the organs being there, but when a CT scan was used on the fossil, the evidence was clear. March. Mauritiusaurus fernandezi. A new species of polycotylid plesiosaur was unearthed in Mexico that preserved fossilized mummified remains, which gives new insight into the life appearance of this animal and its kin. It showed the animal had far more fat preserves than previously thought for this group of marine reptiles. Eoconfuciusornis. An exceptionally well-preserved specimen of the already known Eoconfuciusornis was found with soft tissue preservation, showing us what the living animal may have looked like, even more than just purely bone. Both the ovary and wings have been preserved. April. DASPLETOSAURUS HORNERI. A new species of Daspletosaurus was uncovered by Thomas Carr et al. That might suggest that tyrannosaurs may have had scaly naked faces covered in protective horny coverings, like crocodiles, and that they used them to sense their environment much like modern crocodilians. However, this is yet to be settled and remains controversial. Nacononectes. A new elasmosaurid was recovered from Alaska that shows a shorter neck than is usually found in this family, and quite a short snaggletooth skull to boot. MIERASAURUS. It may look like CAMBRIAN, but this new sauropod is from the early Cretaceous and has more in common with early titanosaurs. May. Zool. Ankylosaurs in late Cretaceous North America are usually not too complete, but this new ankylosaurian was found with a lot of its bits intact. Named after the ghastly villain from Ghostbusters, this ankylosaur is the most complete from the continent. Mystacodon. A new primitive whale from the late Eocene sheds new light on the evolution of baleen in whales. The fossils show evidence of specializations for suction and possibly benthic feeding. LUCIANOVENATOR. Coelophysoids were the most common dinosaur during the late Triassic, and were some of the first derived forms as well. As far as the fossil record goes, these lithe, long-necked theropods were only known from North America, but this new find represents a new form from South America. Luscan. A new pliosaur was recovered from Russia. There are 3 forms of plesiosaur within the vast group. The long-necked piscivorous forms we are all familiar with, which have their own subcategories, but then there's the pliosaurs and the polycotylids. The pliosaurs being the large predatory forms, and the polycotylids being the smaller piscivorous forms, if these behavioural traits are found to be accurate, that is. This new species shows a pliosaur that adapted convergently with the polycotylid pliosaurs, with fossil evidence suggesting a fast-paced piscivorous lifestyle. June. LIUCIANOVENATOR. This new troodontid was found in, you guessed it, the Liaoning province of China. Can we get a talk with someone on why so many extinct fauna need to be named after where they're from? Fortunately, this find is a nearly complete articulate skeleton, which is rather unusual. Chinlestigophis. Seychilians are a group of incredibly strange amphibians, more so when you compare them with the rest of their kin. These worm-like creatures are poorly understood, for their fossil record only contains 2 pre-Cenozoic forms. Chinlestigophis represents a new species to help fill in the holes this family's history is made of, and preserves a mix of different characteristics that link it to Seychilian heritage and other Permian temnospondyls. EUROPATITAN. This fragmentary titanosaur was found all the way back in the early 2000s, and remained undescribed until now. It is the most complete titanosaur from Europe to ever be found. July. APHANERAMMA. Amphibians used to come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. This new discovery is a new species of the genus APHANERAMMA, and had a long thin snout like that of the modern gavial. ALBERTAVENATOR. It seems we get a new species of troodontid all the time. The discovery of these usually small and lithe maniraptorans has been exponentially increasing, more so than other phylogenetic families, and July was no different. ALBERTAVENATOR was a species of troodontid from Canada, and is a very fragmentary find. Apiornithomymus. Named after the giant elephant birds, this ornithomymid is the first more complete from the late Cretaceous of Mongolia. Only bits and pieces have been found of ornithomymosaurs beforehand. Corythoraptor. You thought the oviraptor was weird? Take a look at this new theropod. Corythoraptor was a large caenorgnathed oviraptorosaur from China that had one of the largest crests atop its skull out of the entire group. August. Borealopelta. Possibly one of the most well-preserved dinosaur specimens to date. Borealopelta was a nodosaurid ankylosaurian that was so well preserved that osteoderms, keratin, pigment, and the animal's last meal were all preserved. We now know this animal had reddish-coloured armour with a lighter underbelly, and the exact placement of the osteoderm's armour on its back. A truly magnificent find. Just look at the fossil. It's as if it were frozen in stone. Latinivenatrix. So remember when we were talking about troodontids? Well, turns out there really wasn't enough fossil material used to describe the taxon Troodon itself. Only a few teeth, in fact. Therefore, it was found that the teeth and the rest of the fossils attributed to the genus did not have enough in common to be considered the same thing. Therefore, Troodon is now a dubious genus, likely to be sunk at some point in time, and the material that we think of Troodon is now renamed to an older name, and some have been split apart from these genera. and a new species has been found. Latinovenatrix is the largest troodontid ever found, reaching similar measurements to the largest Deinonychus and smallest Utahraptor. Patagotitan. A very large titanosaur has called the American Museum of Natural History in New York home for a few years, but has remained unnamed and undescribed until now. Named Patagotitan, this enormous behemoth could potentially reach 100 feet or so in length, and is one of the most complete titanosaurs found so far. Shringasaurus. B-movies aside, most animals tend to look pretty normal, even with their horns and scutes. But sometimes we come across a species that looks like something our species has made up. Shringasaurus is just this kind of animal, for it looks like a mashup of different animal characteristics draped onto the mainframe of some monitor lizard. Ceratocornis. A cute little feathery theropod from China shows a lot of different kind of feathers, and shows that you don't have to fly to have feathers. This was essentially a ground bird, eating bugs and seeds and such. September. Morturneria. Everyone knows about plesiosaurs, right? Apparently not, as new and bizarre types are being found all the time, as is the case with Morturneria. Unlike all other plesiosaurs, this one filter-fed with its long, thin teeth, and may have even had an extendable neck pouch like modern filter-feeding animals to help scoop up all the microorganisms. Lingua myrmex. Ants are pretty strange creatures. There are countless varieties in the modern world, and countless varieties likewise survived throughout the past, but few were like Lingua myrmex. This Cretaceous-aged trapjaw ant had a paddle-shaped organ jutting out of the top of its head, reinforced with specks of metal against the ant's lower trapjaws, shaped like a cross between a spear and a pincer that would have slammed against the paddle to ensnare pretty much anything it wanted, or anything that would have benefited the hive, that is. Burrionosaurus. This is another basal ornithopod, which is great, since we don't have many and each new taxon helps to unclog the mess that is ornithopod evolution, since many are identified as hypsilophodonts. Bonus points for this one is named after well-known paleoartist, Zdenek Burian. October. AVICRANIUM. Drepanosaurs are a very strange group of reptile. They were arboreal with sloth or chameleon-like feet, and had long tails with a claw on the end that they undoubtedly used to grasp onto branches. A new member, AVICRANIUM, was found, and with a somewhat complete skull which was convergently similar to the beak of a bird. How strange. Foraea. From Triassic Switzerland comes one of the strangest forms of coelacanth to ever be found. This new species deviates from all other forms mostly in its head, since it looks more like a parrotfish than a coelacanth. Matherenodon. A new species of rhabdodontid ornithopod was found that shows some very strange mouth anatomy. Unlike the other herbivores it lived with, its teeth were enormous, so large that the mouth could only hold a few of them at once. These teeth were set in the jaws like scissors, and likely helped the animal shear through incredibly tough plants that other herbivores could not cut through. November. MIERASAURUS. The only known turiasaurid sauropod from North America. MIERASAURUS was a rather unusual animal. It was unusual not so much for its appearance, but more so for its existence. Sauropods began to die out during the Jurassic-Cretaceous boundary for as yet unknown reasons, with exceptions of the titanosaurs and some holdouts of the diplodocids. However, MIERASAURUS and its closer relative Moabosaurus show that pterosaurs survived this extinction, since the other members of the group were all Cretaceous age animals. Mongol pterosaur. A set of giant pterosaur remains were described, but not fully, and nor were they named, but they may represent an animal as large or larger than the current record breakers, Quetzalcoatlus and Hatzegopteryx. December. Hemipterus. Pterosaurs are made up of thin, airy bone, the better for them to float while soaring through the skies, a similar adaptation of birds. It is because of this that their fossilized remains are scant, that is, we don't find them often. Therefore, we know not a whole lot, and any new discovery opens the floodgates to them. As little as we generally know about them, we do know some things. It would come as no surprise that we do not know about how they got to be the adult wonder of the skies that they were. This new discovery includes lots of adult skeletons of Hemipterus, but most importantly hundreds of eggs, some of which were so well preserved that embryos were found. This will go a long way to help us understand reproduction and development of pterosaurs. Argentinadраco. Pterosaur train is still running. A new species of Asdarchid was found in Argentina which had a very strange head. It had a crest, but it was on the lower jaw, somewhat like Icrandraco. This lower jaw crest is suggested to have helped the animal cut through sediments in the search for crustacean goodies. And that, folks, was the best of 2017. The most interesting ancient taxa described so far. A year of firsts and groundbreaking work for sure. We were able to add to the ever-growing list of extinct animals we know the colours of. We now know more about how pterosaurs grew up and took to the skies. We have seen the terrifying jaws of an ant trapped in amber, and much more. Next year will surely surpass this year in bizarre and interesting discoveries, as this year has done on the last. Here are our predictions for what might be described in the new year. More feathers. We predict that more fossils will be found with feather preservation. Obviously, this would include theropods from the Chinese deposits, but we are also speculating that a dinosaur coming from a group without a well-known fossil record of feathery coverings will be found. Nocturnal theropods. We predict that there will be some species of theropods with absolute proof of nocturnal habits. Digging theropod. There has been talk of a digging theropod, potentially a dromaeosaur or noasaur, but we predict it will be described this coming year. Cambrian weirdo. There will definitely be some kind of weird Cambrian creature described, since there is usually always at least one a year, all thanks to the Lagerstätten and places like the Burgess Shale. Terrestrial crocodile. A new terrestrial crocodile, a true landlubber from the Mesozoic, will be described and found to possibly snack on dinosaurs, however small those dinosaurs are. Omnivorous ornithischians. We've touched on the hypothesis that some ornithischian dinosaurs may have snacked on meat a little bit more than from time to time, but we predict more hard evidence will be found. And those are our predictions for 2018. Let us see how good our powers of deduction and prediction are. We'll take a look next year at the same time and see how close we were. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to like, comment and share this video around to as many people as you can. And hit that notification button so you can continue to know about our videos in the new year. From our team to yours, we want to thank you for your continued support and subscription to this channel. It means the world to us, and we hope to continue our exponential increase in viewership and educational content. We have reached 700 subscribers, all thanks to you wonderful audience members. Thank you so much for your support. We look forward to what the new year brings for our channel. We also want to wish you all a happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, the Expeditionist Discovery Guild wishes you the best and to stay safe during this winter season. We look forward to the new year and all the discoveries it will bring.